Okay, lads, welcome back. Good morning. It's a fantastic day in Sydney. In this video, I'm going to address the question of why can I not stay consistent long enough? Now, this is something that I've solved quite recently. And firstly, before I tell you, exactly what I did and everything, I do want to give you a bit of my backstory and explain to you exactly in which areas I suffered in. And I made life harder than it had to be. I made it my identity that I was the kind of person that would always work hard and struggle and grind and hustle 24/7 and all this stuff and overwork and all that cool stuff that 2016 Gary V, grind stuff. I fell into that and I made it my identity and I suffered. So let's talk about that. Again, I'll start with my story first and then I'll actually get into the source. And as you know, I always deliver on the source. Shout out to my guys from South Africa, from Poland, and from the US. Let's get straight into it. So, two biggest important parts of my life have been physical exercise, getting into shape, and like flexibility and all that cool stuff. And the second thing has been working for myself. Those are the two biggest values of my life: freedom and physical health. Now, as you guys know, I have a aesthetic physique, but what you don't know is I struggled building that physique over 7 to 8 years of my life. Now, I started going to the gym 7, 8 years ago, when I was 16 years old. And if I had stayed consistent, technically I should be so much more ahead than what I look like right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty skinny, right? Sure, I'm lean. I got the abs working for me. I got my, veins and everything working for me, but I'm actually pretty small. And if I don't wear the right clothing and I wear baggy stuff, it looks like I've never gone to the gym at all. Okay, so if I had just stayed consistent for 8 to 9 years up until this point, 2016, 2026, 10 years, if for 10 years I've been going to the gym, if I had stayed consistent, I should be more jacked, bigger, etc., etc. And the only reason I haven't been able to do that is because of inconsistency. I would depend on motivation, and I would use two different motivation cycles. One, I would use negative events in my life, for example, I might have gone to work, particularly had a bad and stressful day at work, started judging people for how overweight they are and how skinny everyone is and how gay everyone looks. And then, out of that judgment and hatred for other people, I became disgusted with my own self, used that as motivation, cool stuff, whatever. That was one thing. The other thing was I would imagine a version of myself that was jacked, but then I would attach such desperation and neediness towards it that I would I would struggle. I would struggle. I would be so needy for it. Then I would look at myself and be like, oh, why aren't I there yet? I'd become super impatient, frustrated, and I wouldn't make any progress. That's the two ways I operated in. And then the other part is YouTube. So again, freedom, building a business, working for myself. That's been one of my dreams since around 2021. It wasn't until 2022 when I actually started pursuing my dream. From 2022 to 2025, I've been failing consistently. Now, I don't say failing. Personally, I think I was learning up until to this point. Now that, I've improved over the time, I'm here able to teach you better, all that kind of jazz. But for 2022 to 2025, for 3 years, I was struggling with consistency. And I'll name you a few things you might relate to it, okay? Struggling with coming up with video ideas. I just couldn't come up with any video ideas. I wouldn't believe in myself. I couldn't, I would constantly change titles, thumbnails, thinking it was the title that was the issue. It was that many times I would record a video and just garbage it or delete it completely because I'm like, oh, nah, this is crap. No one's going to like it. And then obviously because of all these negative emotions and belief systems, I would quit. I would quit YouTube for a week, 3 months, 4 months. I'd work hard for a week and then I'd quit for a few months and I wouldn't upload. And therefore I lost that consistency and my YouTube channel never grew. And because I was always stressed and I thought it was my niche, I thought it was this, I thought it was that, I would constantly change. I would always just change to different things. I never stayed consistent with one thing. But the most important thing was I struggled. I made it like my identity that I would work hard, I would struggle, I would grind and like stay up until like 1 a.m. working, and I wouldn't get anything done. Because if you don't know, content creation and most other businesses these days are all about art. It's not about manual labor. You don't get quality work done for 10 hours. You actually need to be working less and less, but more intensely. So now I work like 2-3 hours a day, sometimes even that, just to produce real high quality content for you guys and to be able to show up with, flow, energy, all that good stuff. So those are the pain problems that I've gone through. Now let's get into how I've been able to solve that. Now, the biggest problems I realized is, firstly, it was an identity issue, as I've mentioned. I made it my identity to struggle. I made it my identity to be the kind of guy that does that kind of stuff, struggles and works hard and grinds and hustles and avoids eating like breakfast and dinner, doesn't go to the gym, all this kind of stuff. He doesn't believe in that because he just needs to work hard. The first little identity shift, and this is going to apply to the gym, this is going to apply to anything else, is the first little identity shift you need to make is, no matter how behind you feel, you only feel behind because your ego is trying to overcome other people. You're only feeling behind because you constantly compare yourself and you place your worth based on other people's progress. So firstly, what you need to understand is you're on your own journey. Literally, like as cliche, as cheesy that might sound, is you're on your own journey. Be ambitious, want to compete, want to be better, 100%. But the biggest problem people make is they place such neediness, desperation, importance, or ego towards achieving their goals. What that means is the reason they want to achieve their goal is because A, they need to please people. B, they need to show off to other people and tell them, hey, I told you so. Hey, look at me. And this was me. I wanted to be jacked so I could just like show off to people who were fat and treat people like shit. It never happened because that negative energy doesn't get you through the day. It can be used once, twice, 3 times, but you can't operate from negative energy all the time. What's better is, imagine if you were passionate. If you were genuinely waking up with like zest and passion every single morning and getting up out of bed and thinking, holy shit, I get to go to the gym. I can't wait. Can't wait to hit my sauna session. Now, as I mentioned, desperation, significance, if you make it so important to you, what that means is this is so important that if I don't achieve it, I'm pretty much worthless. We can't place too much importance on this. Now, what you might realize is here's a pattern. This is the pattern that our brain makes unconsciously. We always attach something outside of ourselves to determine our own self-worth. Whether it's achieving this goal because you can show off to other people, whether it's making this amount of money so you can quit your job and feel like superior to other people. I'm describing myself here. Like, this is the way I felt. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to quit my job and become a YouTuber, is literally to feed my ego and feed my superiority complex. And guys, that shit does not get you that far, because then what happens is the ideas or the actions that you need to take in order to achieve your goals becomes tainted. I begin to produce shit ideas. I begin to produce desperate ideas. When I record videos, I begin to become desperate. This is like, we can't be operating from this stuff. We can't be, again, let's look at the opposite. What is the opposite of operating from desperation, neediness, and struggle? Well, it's passion, it's joy, it's grace, it's artistry, it's mastery, it's patience, right? But passion, waking, again, like imagine, this is something I'm working on now. Now, coming to YouTube, I don't have a problem with discipline when it comes to YouTube. I can confidently say I feel like a 10 out of 10 YouTuber. I don't struggle. I'm always in the flow. I'm always recording. I'm consistent, everything like that. And I'm improving my content daily as well. So that's something I've worked on, okay? But now what I'm working on is my gym identity, because that's something I've struggled up still to this point, is staying consistent in the gym. And now let's get into the source of how you can change your identity, because I'm doing this real time. Funny enough, literally 5 or 6 days ago, I pinched my back. You know, things were going good. This is how the universe will test you. Things were going good. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to start to finally work on my gym identity and, you know, go consistently and never quit. By the way, I've been meditating for 27 days. I've been gratitude journaling for like 8 days. And I've been recording every single day for 2 months straight, depending on what time you watch this. So I can tell you I've fixed those parts of my life. Those feel effortless to me. Now it's the gym. So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing right now. But just going back to the story, as things were going well, I literally went to the gym and I pinched like my tailbone. I pinched the nerve. And for 5-6 days straight, I haven't been able to walk properly, bend over, pick up anything. So yeah, the universe will test you. And this test was simply, are you all about what you say? You know, because I just started, you know, changing my identity in the gym, and the universe was like, are you sure about that? You sure you're going to give up? Let me throw this little curveball at you and let's see how you react to this. Are you just going to give up and use it as excuse, or are you going to stay patient? And as soon as it's fixed, go back to the gym. And B is gratitude. It's so easy to like complain. You have back problems or an injury or you're sick. And it's so hard to be grateful. And that was the other test, in my opinion. So here is what I do to essentially daily fix my identity when it comes to this stuff. First, you need to create a vision of a desired reality, a desired outcome. So when it comes to the gym for me, and just extrapolate this to your own life, when it comes to the gym for me, what I picture for myself is having just finished a mad workout, getting up from the bench, looking at the mirror, feeling and looking absolute jacked, looking at my veins and just feeling good. And I feel the testosterone rushing, and then I like picture myself in my meditation and visualization. I picture myself like in the gym, looking absolutely jacked from third point perspective, and then from first point perspective, first person perspective. So that's one thing I visualize. That's the only thing I visualize, really, just like feeling good at the gym. And so as I'm visualizing this, that's my vision. What I'll do is I begin to meditate and visualize on this. And as I visualize, I will start to feel those emotions real time. Now, I've mentioned before, your mind, your brain, literally cannot tell the difference. This is scientifically proven. Your brain cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's not when it comes to these emotions. So as you're doing your meditations and your visualizations and you begin to feel those emotions, right? You start to feel excited and passionate and focused and joy and freedom. And then you visualize, oh shit, I'm so sorry. You visualize yourself, you know, winning, achieving your sale, quitting your job, retiring your family, whatever your goal, ambition is. You begin to create those emotions, and within the spiritual plane where consciousness and creation is happening, what happens is, you begin to, oh fuck, I went completely blind. Let me recover that quickly. Oh no, hold on, we'll be back. I'm getting a phone call. Okay, so as I was saying, when you intensify these emotions within you, what happens is you send out a strong energetic signature out into the world. But also your brain cannot begin to decipher the difference between what's real and what's not. So it begins to accept it as truth. So two things are happening. Now you're sending out, and just in simple terms, an energetic signature is just emotional frequency, it's emotional intensity. You're sending it out into the spiritual plane, the plane of consciousness. What's happening is you're going to start to see those opportunities. You're going to start to align to ideas. You're going to start to, and this is kind of like shower thoughts. You know, when you're so focused on a goal, maybe you decide that, you know what, I'm going to get jacked this year, and you really like focus on it and you make it something that's important to you, but not too significant. What happens is daily, sometimes like you go into the shower and you get like random ideas on like, oh, this is what I should be working on. Oh, this is what I should do. And that's exactly what happens when you become aligned to a goal, but without feeling the desperation or the neediness of struggle. Because when you're struggling, you're in survival mode. And in survival mode, you can't think properly. You can't see opportunity. You can't see creativity. You don't work from passion or joy or mastery. You work from desperation, need, and like a lack of something. You need to prove something. And guys, that never gets you anywhere. You know, if you're always showing up to the gym angry, that takes you only so far before you start to either become like drop off and fall off, or discipline becomes something hard, or it just becomes your complete identity. And sure, you look jacked, but from the outside, when people look at you, they see like this angry, serious person. And guys, come on, socially wise, nobody really wants to be around somebody who makes pain, misery, and struggle their life, even though they're jacked. Okay, nobody wants to be around other people who live through negativity. So that's another very important thing that I always mention is operating from gratitude, from positivity, and from so on and so forth. So that's what I do. I do my visualizations. I really intensify this emotion. And then again, what happens in my daily life is like, for example, I'll go out for a walk and video ideas will come up to me. And naturally, I'll find it easier for me to record videos. I'll find it easier for me to do habits like reading and educating myself. Suddenly, I get into the flow better, you know? And, you know, as I'm on YouTube, I'm maybe doing research and stuff. I find videos that really inspire me. You know, these kind of things happen not because of like luck or anything. It's because they're always happening, but your mind is not seeing it because it's not aligned to that frequency. So when you create this high frequency in yourself and you know, take it out into the universe, quote unquote, it's not magic that's happening. You're essentially just starting to see what you align with. I mean, it's simply as, again, if we make it the example of you make it your goal, for example, to buy a red Lamborghini, okay? It's your vision, red Lamborghini. What happens? You start seeing that everywhere. It's not that like the universe is fucking spawning red Lamborghinis for you. That's not technically what's happening. What's happening is those red Lamborghinis were already always there. They were always existing. Your mind just could never process or see those because it wasn't in the right frequency. Maybe you were worried about something else. Maybe you were obsessed about something else. You know, so you don't see those things. What you need to understand is all possible versions of you already exist, and every single goal you want, you've already achieved. The thing is, all you need to do is just align to that frequency. And the way we do that is through emotional signature, because emotions are really strong. Why? They define trauma. They literally affect your life in the simplest way. And I'll tell you how. It could be raining outside and somebody could literally be so depressed, angry, or sad because it's raining outside. Now, you're telling me emotions aren't that important. Literal raindrops can make somebody feel sad. Come on, guys. Like that's a bit ridiculous. So imagine the next level of power these thoughts, these emotions can have over us. And that's what I say. Instead of operating from, oh, I need to go to the gym and I need to show everybody and I need to work hard and I need to, feeling needy, struggling, desperate, you could do the exact same thing, but feeling like, can't wait to go to the gym today and do legs. Fucking oath. I can't wait to hit the fucking sauna. And then you visualize yourself and you're like, just finished the workout and you're feeling good. You visualize yourself eating clean. You know, you visualize yourself getting complimented, etc. and etc. And that's the way that you're going to be able to build that consistency and build it without struggle. Stay consistent without struggling. That's the motto of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this. Just to summarize quickly, if you need to, meditation, regulating your mind, but that making that vision clear of like, okay, you know, this is my goal. I want to lose weight. Okay, make that desired reality, the end goal, clear. How do you look like when you lose weight? How do you feel? What do you think? How do you behave? And then visualize that. That's what I recommend, because that's what I do. Okay, visualize that as if it's happening now. Start to act from that person. Create the systems you need. Go to the gym, the routine, everything, the eating clean that you would need to get to that point. That version of you who has already achieved that reality does do that today. and keep doing your visualizations anytime your state, your energy drops. So sometimes naturally you'll wake up extra tired. Sometimes you'll wake up and you're like, I'm a bit like this all over the place. Sometimes you'll get affected by anger. That happens. You're a human. Don't hate yourself for it. Just come back to high state, high frequency. That's simply just awareness and consciousness, okay? And that is through meditation, through relaxation, through visualization, breath work, yoga, whatever you want to do. But it's important to come back to the present high moment, high state of frequency. Hope this has helped. And yeah, if you need help, let me know. I'll reach out to me on the description below. But if you have questions, you can always just drop them in the YouTube comments. And honestly, if I have time, which I usually do, I'll just answer it completely for free. So yeah,